Welcome to Run Your Most Demanding File Workloads with Azure NetApp Files. I'm Andrew Chen, the Product Management Leader for Azure NetApp Files, and it's my pleasure to be here. Let's dive in. The Azure storage portfolio is durable, highly available, and massively scalable. Azure offers a broad spectrum of products covering all major categories in storage, including block, object, and file storage, and most notably the focus of our talk, Azure NetApp Files, or ANF. By way of context, what were the motivations for building Azure NetApp Files? Some key insights from the analyst data that we have here. First, the majority of enterprise workloads are still on premises. And two, a significant portion of these workloads are running on file-based storage. But there have been three issues that have traditionally prevented enterprises from moving to the cloud. One, the change to cloud plus the change to re-platform their applications is too much transformation at one time. Two, the administrative and operational burden of managing IaaS file servers is undesirable. Customers want a fully managed storage service. And three, customers are unable or unwilling to give up key capabilities that they've grown dependent on over the years. And so it was with these challenges in mind that we partnered together with NetApp to create Azure NetApp Files. ANF is an Azure first-party service built in deep partnership with NetApp, sold and supported by Microsoft. Some important takeaways. One, Azure NetApp Files is a true first-party service, not a marketplace offering. One purchase provides all the necessary components. There are no separate licenses, support agreements, or add-ons from any additional vendors required. ANF appears as just another item on your Azure bill. Two, your existing Azure support agreements also apply to ANF, and Azure takes first call for support. Next, Azure NetApp Files is a fully managed cloud service. You can deploy powerful enterprise storage within minutes without needing to perform any storage administrative tasks or worrying about any of the underlying infrastructure management. Azure NetApp Files is built using the power of Data ONTAP, the world's #1 storage OS, deeply and uniquely integrated into Azure, delivering combined capabilities including high performance, including sub-millisecond minimum latency, broad protocol support, high availability, efficient and performant data protection and data management features. Finally, security is critically important in top-tier enterprise workloads, and we offer significant capabilities in this area, including FIPS 140-2 compliant data encryption at rest, role-based access control, and network access control lists. So let's spend a few moments and see how Azure NetApp Files was built. ANF is singularly unique in the industry. There is no combination of enterprise storage technology and public cloud that is more deeply integrated or performant. Other offerings in the market may appear cosmetically similar, but what we've built here is far superior, which is why we offer it under the Microsoft brand. ANF is physically hosted inside of Azure's data centers and operates within Azure security boundaries and fully to Azure principles. ANF truly delivers enterprise-grade security, which is proven by the fact that ANF is offered in Azure government regions and has achieved key certifications, including US FedRAMP High, IL4, IL5, High Trust, IRAP, and PCI DSS. The underlying architecture and experience are also very much Azure consistent. You can perform control plane functions through all typical means of access, including portal, command line interface, and REST API. Under the hood, Azure NetApp Files has a resource provider and an orchestration engine, which act as the virtual administrator for the entire fleet in the region. Azure NetApp Files is powered by top-of-the-line bare metal systems, configured, deployed, operated, and maintained to best practices. The fleet of systems is connected directly into the Azure internal high-speed network through new networking technology that was first built for Azure NetApp Files. The ANF systems and network layer directly route data plane traffic into your own private VNet for highly secured access at low latency and with full line rate performance. So now let's start to explore the product structure and capabilities. There's 5 key pillars that I'd like to cover: deployment flexibility, high performance, integrated data protection, compatibility, and workload support. ANF offers different price performance service levels, standard, premium, and our flagship Ultra, to best match varying workload requirements in your environment. The service levels are defined by price point in terms of dollars per gigabyte per month and the performance to capacity ratio, which is governed by a quality of service throughput limit. By design, there are no separate transaction fees to keep pricing simple and cost predictable, particularly in intensive use cases. For additional flexibility and cost value, we offer the capability to change tiers in place without requiring a data copy and non-disruptively without inflicting any interruption to I/O. ANF requires an initial minimum purchase of 4 terabytes and can then be expanded in increments of 1 terabyte. Some key concepts of capacity management. First, the ANF account is similar but not the same as an Azure storage account. It is an administrative concept that is regional in scope. Next, ANF is charged based on provision capacity, which is done by creating pools. Pools can vary in size from 4 terabytes to 500 terabytes each, and a single ANF account can contain up to 25 pools. Provision capacity is like a debit card of capacity that you purchased, to which you can then assign to volumes in the pool. Volumes are the actual constructs that contain the data and are mounted and accessed through the file services protocol. They're assigned a quota limit, which can range from 100 gigabytes all the way up to 100 terabytes. You can create up to 500 volumes in a single pool. We offer 2 types of capacity pools. With auto pools, the QoS allocation for a given volume is based on the tier of the pool and the associated throughput to capacity ratio, as well as the assigned volume capacity quota. For example, if I have a volume in the premium tier, which offers 64 megabytes per second for every 1 terabyte of quota, and then I have a volume that is allocated 2 terabytes of quota, that volume will have a gross QoS limit of 128 megabytes per second. This allows for simplicity of management. We also offer the manual QoS pool, which allows you to spend the throughput budget separately from capacity allocations. So now in this example, if I have a 12 terabyte pool that is in the ultra tier, I have a gross capacity budget of 12 terabytes and a gross throughput budget of 1.5 gigabytes per second that I can assign separately to volumes in the pool. You can see in this example taller, thinner volumes that don't use as much capacity but need higher performance, and the shorter, wider volumes consume more capacity but don't require as much performance. This feature helps utilize those resources more efficiently, such as in SAP landscapes, which have a diversity of volume types with varying requirements, including the more demanding database and log volumes and the larger, cooler backup volumes. Some additional detail on how performance in ANF works. QoS is throttled solely on throughput, which means that the amount of IOPS achievable is purely a function of the throughput, transfer size, and your read-write mix. There is no separate or explicit throttle on IOPS separate from throughput. IOPS performance that is achieved by ANF does not count against the VM's disk limits. So in some cases, you can achieve greater IOPS using a smaller VM, or in other cases, you can achieve a greater total IOPS for a given VM up to the limits of what the CPU can handle by attaching additional ANF storage. A single ANF volume, although it takes multiple clients, can achieve up to 4.5 gigabytes of throughput or over 460,000 IOPS, and depending on conditions, it is possible to achieve sub-millisecond minimum latency with an ANF volume. As always, your mileage will vary depending on your exact configuration, workload, and I/O pattern. Very importantly, ANF is dynamically adjustable. In terms of degrees of freedom, you can add capacity for any volume on the fly with no interruption to I/O. With an auto pool, this will automatically scale QoS correspondingly, and those changes in available throughput are reflected in near real time. For volumes belonging to a manual QoS pool, you could also adjust the allocated throughput on the fly, also with no interruption in I/O. Finally, you can also move volumes from one pool to another without interruption in I/O. One of the original motivations for building ANF and delivering on the promise of readily enabling workload deployments was to deliver broad protocol support. We offer NFS version 3, 4.1, which very importantly offers the protocol locking, which is heavily utilized in SAP scale-out deployments and other similar use cases, and SMB. Building on this protocol support, we've continued to invest in enhancing support for various capabilities by protocol. We've added extended group support for larger deployments, and along with that, ADDS LDAP support for NFS version 3 and 4.1. For SMB and NFS version 4.1, we've added protocol-based encryption in transit. For SMB, we offer multi-channel support and support for continuous availability shares that enables availability through failover events like planned maintenance and upgrades. Beyond just offering the discrete protocols, we offer simultaneous multi-protocol access to the same volume, first with NFS version 3 and SMB, and more recently adding support for NFS version 4.1 and SMB. Powerful snapshotting capability is one of the key differentiators of Azure NetApp Files. Let's first discuss how ANF snapshot works. The underlying operating system is constantly appending. This means that data is never overwritten, and updates to an active volume and snapshots are accomplished through pointer manipulation, which brings several significant benefits. First, the ANF snapshots are extremely performant. Only pointers are captured in the process of taking a snapshot, but data is not copied or moved out. This results in snapshots being A, virtually instantaneous, and B, better yet, instantaneous regardless of the size of the volume being snapshotted. There's also no performance penalty inflicted while a snapshot is being taken. So this is hugely beneficial for providing data protection for critical workloads such as databases. ANF snapshots are also space efficient. As you can see, only changed blocks are written to media. Shared blocks common across snapshots are not duplicated, only the pointer references. The converse of taking a snapshot is also true. A restore is accomplished simply by manipulating the set of pointer references in the snapshot as an active volume. This also means that a restore is instantaneous, again, regardless of the volume size. So this technology creates huge productivity gains for key workflows such as test and development, where multiple users or stakeholders may require instant access to a current or past version of a dataset. We offer the ability to take snapshots both on demand and at scheduled intervals using the snapshot policy feature. And additionally, we also offer the Azure Application Consistent, or AZ/AC Snap tool, which provides the orchestration needed to create database-consistent snapshots and keep backup catalogs current. Moving into high availability and disaster recovery, a very important capability is cross-region replication, the ability to perform replication across two volumes. Replication is one way. The active volume is the source, and the destination or data protection volume is passive, although it can be read-only, and also it can be made the active volume if the user chooses to fail over. Replication is asynchronous, and we offer frequency options of once every 10 minutes, every hour, or every day. The replication is block incremental and highly efficient, and only changed data is replicated, saving bandwidth. Replication is high scale and full fidelity. Note that we offer replication in fixed region pairs. In many cases, particularly in larger regions, we do frequently offer multiple pair options, which, depending on the region, can sometimes include both the legacy Azure Storage GRS pairing as well as additional frequently requested combinations. The source and destination volume must be in the same subscription, but the destination volume can be in a different capacity pool type or tier than the source volume for cost optimization. Replication data traverses over the Azure backbone over a separate connection and does not go through the data path. Replication traffic also does not count against QoS limits. ANF Backup is a newly announced preview capability. It is, as the name suggests, an integrated backup feature which also leverages the snapshot technology to provide very space-efficient incremental backups. ANF Backup offers the option of either on-demand or policy-based backups. You can deploy backups easily from the ANF portal by creating policies which specify frequency intervals, including hourly, daily, and monthly, and retention quantities by frequency. You can then assign this policy to one or multiple volumes for ease of management. The backups are stored separately or hardened in managed Azure storage accounts at a ZRS level of durability where available to provide additional protection. Backups are available in the region associated with the ANF account and volumes, and backups can be restored to new ANF volumes within the same region. So what's most important is fulfilling our original vision of enabling customers to migrate their most demanding workloads to the cloud. And so I'd like to highlight just a few of the key workloads and customer successes that we've had over the years. First is SAP, where ANF is an excellent fit for storage requirements across the entire spectrum of SAP deployment scenarios, including meeting the stringent performance requirements of and being certified for database and log deployments, as well as enabling the N+M scale-out configuration, which provides high performance and availability at improved TCO. We're very proud that SAP themselves have successfully utilized ANF in a multitude of their environments and use cases for their customers. We've helped them to deploy SAP HANA environments 30 to 40% faster and reduce outages by up to 80% versus on-premises infrastructure. We've also seen a lot of success in high-performance computing, where we've enabled customers like Repsol to achieve faster than on-premises performance. In the EDA space, ANF's high IOPS and low latency have also enabled workloads that previously could not be done in the cloud. Virtual Desktop is another great use case where ANF, particularly with our rapid deployment and cloud-native management, has enabled customer agility, which was critically needed in the early days of the COVID crisis. And last but absolutely not least, ANF broadly serves across a multitude of enterprise needs and requirements for general-purpose file shares, such as at BP, who uses ANF successfully in a range of use cases and has realized significant productivity benefits, again, from the combination of performance, rich features, and rapid provisioning. We've been continuously innovating and delivering new capabilities with ANF, including the cross-region replication and backup features that I just described. I'm also very proud to say that we recently announced instant availability for ANF, which is now available in the Azure portal for immediate deployment without any waitlists or additional approval steps required to gain access to the service. You'll see how easy this is in the upcoming demo. Another very important capability I'm pleased to announce is the preview of standard network features, which deepens the innovation and integration of ANF into the Azure network. We're expanding the scale of ANF's connectivity and adding key capabilities, including network security groups, user-defined routes, and support for global VNet peering. Of course, none of this matters unless you can access these capabilities where you need them. ANF is available today in 36 Azure regions worldwide, delivering true bare metal performance in more regions than some other hyperscale clouds have in total. ANF is deployed in multiple availability zones in 13 regions, and ANF is available physically co-located with the VMs needed to run SAP workloads within the physical envelope needed to achieve sub-millisecond latency in 25 regions. ANF is also listed in the Azure Trust Center and, as previously mentioned, has achieved key certifications as a Microsoft first-party service that are listed here. So let's take a moment to briefly explore the ANF portal experience and see how easy it is to access ANF's powerful capabilities from a single pane of glass with no storage administration experience required. You can readily find ANF by searching for Azure NetApp Files in the Create Resources page. And from there, it's only a few clicks and simple inputs required to instantly create your ANF account. Let's explore an account I've already created and populated. You can readily access key account properties, identity access management, and available resource quotas and limits. Moving to capacity pools, you can see the options for the 3 service levels, provision capacity amount, and choosing QoS type. Here in the Volume Create blade, you can see the options for setting capacity and throughput independently for manual QoS pools and advanced options. In the Protocol tab, you can choose from either version of NFS as well as SMB. The ability to set export policy and other additional options appropriate to the protocol type are also available here. You can also select from one of the available dual protocol options. You can also tag your volumes for manageability and tracking. Now, if we explore one of the volumes I've already created, you can see the options for adjusting the volume or moving it to another pool. Now with this Ultra volume, I've also set up Replication. You can see replication status and key metrics in the Replication blade. You can also click through to the paired destination volume, which you can see is in a different region and also a different service level for cost optimization. For data protection, you can access snapshot policies. See the schedule, assign volumes, and drill down to the actual snapshots. You can also similarly access backup policies, as well as see the assigned volumes, and from backups, view the option to restore a backup to a new volume. And lastly, beyond the rich set of features that are built into ANF, we also offer easy access through the Azure portal to additional services offered by NetApp. Let's dive a bit deeper into a success story, showcasing customers solving large business challenges with SAP and ANF. Kona is the IT platform for the North American Coca-Cola business, covering 500 operations in North America, representing over $20 billion in annual revenue. They're dealing with a rapidly changing business environment, especially during the unprecedented conditions of 2020, and sought to migrate their SAP workloads to the cloud, seeking greater flexibility, stability, and lower cost. They migrated their SAP DB to Azure, and along with it, their need for high availability and high performance. Our native Azure experience allowed for fast deployment, growth, and easy management. The snapshot and cloning capabilities provided seamless and performant data protection, and the industry-leading performance of ANF, along with its ability to rapidly and non-disruptively scale, enabled them to meet their technical requirements. You can see here their success stated in their own words. But more importantly are the business outcomes they were able to achieve, delivering multiple millions in savings while also achieving multiple millions in business growth. Thank you for joining us for the session. We'd like to leave you with some resources so you can easily take the next step in your ANF journey. You can quickly and easily get started with Azure Storage with a free trial at aka MS Azure Storage Free. You can learn more about Azure Storage at aka MS Azure Storage Learn, and particularly you can learn more about Azure NetApp Files at aka MS NetApp, which also provide links to valuable information including our pricing, regional availability, and our deep documentation and solution architecture library. Thank you again.